Audrey Niffenegger talks about her best-selling novel, The Time Traveller's Wife, a magical love story with a twist. Funny, quirky, and sometimes heartbreaking, this is the story of a relationship lived in the moment. Moments that are all in the wrong order.
World Book Club, from the 2nd of September. At bbcworldservice.com, Discovery with Jim Al-Khalili.
From the UK's Cheltenham Science Festival, I speak to former child prodigy Anne-Marie Imafidon about the positives of taking exams early and her work encouraging girls into science, technology, engineering and maths.
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
The famine in Madagascar is forcing people to carry out the most extreme actions in their fight for survival.
They
brought their children with them. Some brought 2, some brought 3. And they say they have nothing to feed them. They look for money, but they can't find any. So our only solution is to exchange our kids for money.
What is being done to ensure that people like this receive the help they so desperately need?
And for the year 2023 and the end of 2022, the government also brought 64 tons of rice.
I'm Raissa Youssouf, and coming up on Famine at the Edge of the Ocean, I will be meeting people in Madagascar southeast who have been devastated by food insecurity, and I will also be speaking to experts who are trying to find solutions to this catastrophe. Join me after the news.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa has expressed confidence he'll win the elections today as he cast his ballot in his hometown. The 80-year-old is facing a challenge from the opposition leader Nelson Chamisa, who hopes to ride a wave of discontent over a shattered economy. Shingai Naoka is in Harare.
Zimbabwe has, in the last 5 years that President Emmerson Mnangagwa has been president, inflation has risen to 700% at some point. It's been increasingly volatile. He introduced a local currency which has shed about 70% of its value. A lot of people here are unemployed, and when President Mnangagwa came in 2018, when he was elected, he promised that he would turn the economy around, and there's a lot of frustration by many of the people here that hasn't happened and their lives haven't changed for the better.
A state-run Russian news agency says General Sergei Surovikin has been sacked as head of the country's air and space forces. RIA Novosti said he'd been replaced with an acting commander, General Viktor Afzalov. Here's Danny Eberhard.
As well as being the head of Russia's aerospace forces, General Surovikin was a deputy commander of its troops in Ukraine. But he disappeared in June following the abortive mutiny by Wagner paramilitaries. He enjoyed close relations with the Wagner boss, Yevgeny Prigozhin, and rumours swirled that he was being held under house arrest by the security services, being investigated for possible complicity. Sergei Surovikin actually led Russia's campaign in Ukraine for a while, overseeing the assault on its energy infrastructure, until he was demoted in January. He previously served in Syria, earning the nickname General Armageddon for a brutal bombing campaign there.
Thailand's former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who returned home from 15 years of voluntary exile on Tuesday, has been moved out of prison to a civilian hospital. It comes just hours after a court sentenced him to 8 years in jail on corruption charges imposed in his absence. Here's Jonathan Head.
The prison authorities say Mr Thaksin was transferred to a civilian hospital last night to check on a heart condition. He's now likely to stay there while he appeals to King Wajiralongkorn for a pardon. His return coincided with a vote in Parliament endorsing a new coalition government, which brings together Mr Thaksin's Pheu Thai party and its long-time Conservative and Royalist opponents. Their epic rivalry over 18 years has resulted in 2 military coups and numerous street battles that have cost dozens of lives. They've now struck a grand bargain in order to keep out the youthful progressives of the relatively new Move Forward party, which shocked Thai Conservatives by winning the largest share of seats in the May general election.
BBC News. Residents of Athens are having to put up with an acrid stench of smoke from wildfires which continue to threaten some of the Greek capital's northern suburbs. Homes and cars have been destroyed and 150 elderly people in care homes are among those who've had to be evacuated. The army, police and volunteers are helping a couple of hundred firefighters tackle the blazes, aided by water-carrying aircraft. Officials in Pakistan say about 100,000 people have been evacuated from villages on either side of the River Sutlej, which is in spate. They say several districts in Punjab province are facing a serious risk of flooding. India is hoping later today to become the first country to land a spacecraft near the south pole of the moon, days after the failure of a similar Russian mission. The Chandrayaan-3 mission aims to hunt for water-based ice, which scientists say could support human habitation on the moon. Ian Whittaker is an astrophysicist at Nottingham Trent University here in England.
It'd be really interesting to see what sort of materials are actually on the lunar surface there. Looking at things like mineralogy, looking at what the topsoil is made of. We're really interested in the potential to build a lunar base, and the best places for these are the north and the south pole of the moon, so that you can either get constant sunlight or you can have constant shade. Knowing what's there, we'll know whether we can make buildings out of the local materials, because the last thing we want to do is have to try and transport it from Earth.
A leading human rights group says conditions in Lebanon's prisons have deteriorated dangerously amidst a deepening economic crisis. Human Rights Watch says the government's failure to pay outstanding bills has affected food supplies in Lebanese jails. The problem of overcrowding has also worsened, with Roumieh, the country's largest prison, holding almost 3 times its intended capacity.
For Ludiane, every day is a fight to keep
already been there looking down at it, that there is in fact raw or rare materials that are there that we might actually need on the Earth in the future, possibly lithium, various types of materials that are running low on the Earth. So that would be important, apart from the materials needed for a moon base.
So why have we never, as in humanity, never landed on this south side before? And will it be quite remarkable for India to be the first if they're successful?
Yes, a couple of reasons for that. First of all, it's a technological reason. I mean, in the 1960s and the early 70s, when we were flying to the moon with humans as well as robotic vehicles, we were pushing the very edge of our technologies. And those landings all happened much higher up in more towards the equatorial regions. Going to the south is very different. You had to put your orbital spacecraft in a very different orbital position in order to get it to drop there. And that's a little bit more complicated for the orbital maneuvers to get you in position to make the landing in the first place. And of course, you need transmission is very different. It's great when you're in the equatorial regions. Transmission is much more easier to pick up. But this is much more different for angling and getting the equipment into place. So communications is more difficult. So it is a much more difficult attempt to actually make, especially in an area which we're not very familiar with as well. It's in the equatorial regions, it's a lot flatter. You've got the Maria, which is what they call the seas, but actually they're lava basins. Where you don't have that in the polar region, it's a lot more rugged, it's a lot more cratery. So it's a much more harder place to actually drop down. And the technology now and the cost now is low enough to make these attempts.
So I mean, it's interesting on the cost that Neville was just telling us about, only $75 million. But I think my question, more importantly, is where India ranks relative to other Western nations in terms of space technology. I mean, clearly Russia's failed in its recent landing, which is going to grab some comparisons. But what about the US? Why is India able to do this before the US?
Well, it's a question of what priorities are. America is still very much far into the game, and America, of course, are looking at human space flight and humans reaching these parts of the moon. India has always had a very good space technology. They've developed it very slowly and very deliberately with the Indian Space Research Organisation. I've had some dealings with, fantastic organisation. So they've always been keen to have things like satellites for broadcasting down to their very wide population, very large country. And now they're stretching out, partly because they need their technical life insurance. You have to develop your own technologies. That's really important, which is why they're spreading out to it now. They've got very, very good engineers. India's always been very good for mathematicians as well. You really do need mathematicians for this kind of work. And they're very, very good and skilled at doing that. And they're just funding part of their economy into their space program. They're also going to need raw materials in the future, like other nations, China very much so, the United States, Europe. And therefore, many of these raw materials, we're now looking towards the moon and the asteroids to actually get that material. It's becoming too expensive to get them now on the Earth, deeper down in the Earth, perhaps at the bottom of the oceans. This is actually now going to be more cost effective with the new technologies that we have. And India ranks up there with everybody else because India is also part of the Artemis program of going to the moon. So the data they collect here from this South Polar region will feed back into the Artemis program, which will eventually lead to humans living in that particular region.
How likely is that? By when?
Certainly by 2030s, early 2030s, the America hope to have their base, or the Artemis International Base will be up and running, it's hoped, by the early 2030s. China trying to push a bit earlier as well, which always is quite interesting. We see this race between China and their bloc of international partners, the Artemis, which is the United States, and their bloc of international partners. And it's going to be interesting to see what people actually do when they get there and how they cooperate or not with the different blocks. But America's going to have, remember, an orbiting space station around the moon, and that's something nobody else has even tried to do before. So India are up there amongst the Europeans, the Americans, and China very easily.
Thanks so much for joining us, Andrew. Really interesting.
Thank you.
Well, from 1 o'clock this afternoon, we'll bring you all the build-up to that space landing in an hour-long special programme, 1 p.m. today here on Sky News. Well, still to come here on this hour of Sky News today.
Well, they want to divide us because together we're strong. Are you gonna take action now? You sung your damn song. If you don't like the rich,
We'll speak to Billy Bragg, the legendary singer-songwriter, about his response to a US country singer's song, which currently is a hit in America, particularly on the conservative side of the political aisle. Very interesting story there. We'll break it all down for you. Also coming up, why Boots broke advertising rules with online adverts promoting infant formula, and reports of an alleged Chinese spy using LinkedIn to try to convince British officials to hand over state secrets. We'll speak to a former British Army intelligence officer who says he accepted a request from him by accident in the past. But first, we'll talk about the first ever womb transplant in the UK, which has been hailed as the dawn of a new era in fertility treatment. A 34-year-old woman received the organ from her older sister, with both surgeries lasting together over 17 hours. The recipient is now hoping to start IVF treatment later this year. Sky's Emma Birchley has this report.
Early one Sunday in February, surgeons in Oxford met to operate on two sisters. The plan to transfer the womb from one woman to the other. The 30-strong team worked until the following morning. The operation to remove the donor's womb lasted more than 8 hours in itself. But before the uterus was actually taken out, surgeons had already begun operating on her younger sister to prepare her to receive the potentially life-changing donation. A further 9 hours and 20 minutes later, the transplant was complete. 1 month later, the lead surgeon and the sisters, who were staying anonymous, shared the joy at what had been achieved.
We were all in tears. It's very emotional. Probably the most stressful week of our surgical careers, but also unbelievably positive.
It's the first operation of its kind ever to be carried out in the country, funded by the charity Womb Transplant UK at a cost of £25,000.
I think it's the dawn of a new age, a new era in treating these patients. You've got to remember some of these patients are the most difficult fertility situations that you can imagine. They're either born without a uterus, or they've lost the uterus for reasons of cancer or other problems.
The younger sister will now have her embryos implanted, already created through IVF using her own eggs. She'd been born without a womb. Her sister, who'd already had 2 babies, was only too happy to help.
Living donation from a relative is probably preferable. It will come to a point in which we will have friends or or altruistic donors, but like we do in many other transplants.
The surgeons hope up to 30 transplants from living donors will soon be carried out each year, offering new hope to those desperate to carry their own child. Emma Birchley, Sky News, Oxford.
A bit more on this story now with Shaman Freeman-Powell. Shaman, really interesting because it's clearly the first time this has happened in the UK and groundbreaking in light of that. That said, reading more about it, it's happened internationally before, and indeed babies have already been born around the world from transplanted wombs.
Yes, that's right. Internationally, this procedure has been performed more than 90 times, around 100 times in 10 different countries. And data from the US suggests that more than half of women that have undergone this womb transplant have gone on to have successful pregnancies. So this is really good news. It's the first time that this procedure has been undertaken in the UK, but the very first time that a womb transplant procedure was first performed was back in 2014, and that was in Sweden, and shortly after that a young baby boy called Vincent was born. So this is really positive news, especially for scientists that have been working on this procedure here in the UK. Estimates suggest that around 15,000 women who are of childbearing age in the UK do not have a functioning womb, so this procedure could potentially help them. Some of those women will be eligible for this procedure, but it could also help women that may have lost the organ because of cancer, for example, or because they've had to have hysterectomies because of other medical conditions. Now, here in the UK, the charity that funded the first British woman to have the womb transplant surgery say that they do have approval for more of these procedures, and they have funding for up to 4 more of these operations. And actually, they have the second British woman scheduled to have her procedure come autumn. But they've also said actually that they've had hundreds of women already coming forward willing to donate their wombs. However, as we've just heard in Emma's VT, at the moment the focus will be on women who have family members that are able to donate, but scientists are positive and hopeful that in future that could change.
Shaman, thanks so much. A Sky News investigation has revealed how people coming into the UK on skilled worker visas are relying on food banks after being left without a job. Employment agencies in countries such as Bangladesh and Nigeria are being paid thousands of pounds to secure these visas, but companies sponsoring them are then offering no shifts. Well, Sky's communities correspondent Lisa Holland has spoken to some of those struggling to survive after giving up everything for a new life here.
It's chaotic, dishing out supplies in a cramped and crowded food bank.
Give me one of them. Which one? No, this is not different.
Organisers say they're overwhelmed because it's not just locals who are struggling to survive.
Come and sit down. Come inside. Sit down here.
Some of these people have recently arrived from Nigeria on skilled worker visas, but got here to find the jobs they were sponsored for don't exist, and they're now falling destitute. This woman, who we're calling Blessing, says she hasn't been given any shifts by the care company which sponsored her skilled worker visa since she arrived 3 months ago.
I've always provided for myself. I'm a very hardworking, diligent person. So for me to be here, depending on people to eat, coming to the food bank to get food, isn't quite okay with me. It makes me feel I'm less of a person, a human. I should be in the position of helping, not the receiving end, because this is not who I was back in my country.
The founder of the food bank says she's already under pressure in a cost of living crisis.
Nearly half the people you're supporting
15,
are people who were given a visa to come to the
UK without work.
And then got here and there was no job.
Yes.
Are you shocked by that?
I am shocked because this has never happened in the UK before. So we are so surprised to see this happening. So, I'm sorry. It's so depressing. That's the word. Thank you.
Yeah.
It is so depressing.
Do you think it's a big issue?
It's a very big issue.
We've also traced and spoken to a number of people who travelled to the UK on skilled worker visas from Pakistan and Bangladesh. They told us they feel too ashamed to be filmed and are afraid of being sent back. What we've found is just how widespread abuse of the skilled worker visa system is in different communities and around the country. Again and again, people telling us the same story. Some are getting here and finding there's no work. Others are using it as a route to reach Britain. In a supermarket in Bradford in West Yorkshire, we're told people are coming into the store offering to work for next to nothing in exchange for food, including some who also came on skilled worker visas but have no intention of working as carers and are using the system purely to reach Britain.
It does shock me and it is frustrating.
Who are you frustrated with?
We're not only frustrated with the people that are coming in knowingly, we're also frustrated with the government for creating this mess in the first place.
The government says it has robust measures in place to ensure compliance with the immigration system and will take decisive action if employers break the rules, including by revoking sponsor licences. But for those now unable to support themselves after moving to Britain, serious questions remain about the dream being sold to some people using the skilled worker visa route to get here. Lisa Holland, Sky News.
Well, let's have a look now at some of the other stories making news this morning. The brother of a man wanted over the death of his 10-year-old daughter has told Pakistani police that Sarah Sharif fell down the stairs and broke her neck. Sarah's uncle, Imran Sharif, is currently being held in police custody but hasn't been charged and is not under arrest. Mr. Sharif says he's not seen his brother, Sarah's father, since news of the 10-year-old's death, but has spoken to his parents about what happened. Surrey and Sussex police said while the post-mortem has not provided us with an established cause of death at this time, the fact that we know that Sarah had suffered multiple and extensive injuries over a sustained and extended period has significantly changed the nature of our investigation, and we've widened the timescale of the focus of our inquiry. A typical UK home now costs nearly 7 times the average annual salary. Figures from Halifax show that while prices have fallen in the last year, most homes are still less affordable than they were at the start of the pandemic. The lender says it's hopeful that will change. The advertising watchdog has found that online adverts promoting infant formula from Boots broke advertising rules. It's against the law to advertise formula for babies up to the age of 6 months in the UK, as it might discourage breastfeeding. The retailer has apologised and removed the ads, which it says were automated. There are questions for the Metropolitan Police this morning over the way the service handled allegations against one of its former officers, Adam Provan, who was found guilty in June this year for raping a fellow officer 6 times and raping a 16-year-old girl twice. There was harsh criticism from the judge, who said he was troubled by the way the Met Police handled the female police officer's initial complaint. Rachel Venables has this report.
I was terrified. He was older than me. I didn't really know this man. And I just remember being against this tree.
Lauren was just 16 years old when a serving Met police officer lied about his age, took her to this park in East London on a blind date and raped her twice.
I don't feel like I was there mentally. I think my body was there, but my mind had gone somewhere else. And I feel like that was a coping mechanism to get through the trauma that I was, facing.
44-year-old Adam Provan's been jailed for 16 years, with another 8 years on extended licence for raping 2 women on multiple occasions over a 7-year period. The first victim was a fellow officer who he raped 6 times in 2 years. In 2005, she told bosses at the Met Provan was harassing her, that he'd assaulted her, but she was told to leave it for the sake of her career. This is what she told the court.
The offences committed against me have impacted my entire adult life and my trust in police. I have lived in constant fear and an honest fear he would kill me.
Provan then stayed an officer for more than a decade and was free to attack Lauren Taylor 5 years later.
We've definitely both been let down in a way, but again, my experience is completely different, and it is really hard, I think, when you know that he was a police officer.
The judge said Proven had disgraced this force, but he also criticised the Met Police, saying they should be ashamed of the way they treated their female colleague when she reported him for assault. They said those officers were more interested in looking out for one of their own than in taking her seriously. Why do you think in 2005, when a police officer reported Proven for a number of allegations, including assault, she didn't get the answers that she sought? She was told to leave it for the sake of her career.
I don't know at this time, and we must understand why, because I am so sorry. She deserved to be heard, for her case to be taken very seriously.
Scotland Yard are now working to identify if there might be more victims as they face yet again the reality of a serial abuser having worn their uniform. Rachel Venables, Sky News.
You're watching Sky News today, and still to come, more on the remarkable 15-hour-long rescue effort from a broken cable car dangling 900 feet over a canyon in Pakistan. We'll discuss wildfires near the Greece-Turkey border, where firefighters face their fourth day of battling the flames. And polls have opened in Zimbabwe's election, but there are concerns over violence as the opposition seeks to break the ruling party's 43-year hold on power. That and very much more still to come.
Has rallied. Moderation. Interest rates peaking up at 6%.
The highest for 14 years.
Will that be the peak? Will it be a little bit lower?
It's closer to a potential crash.
So many words, so many meanings. But what do they mean for you and your finances? Stay up to date on Sky News.
Welcome back. 7 children and their teacher have been pulled to safety from a broken cable car in a daring rescue mission in Pakistan. They were on their way to school in the gondola, a normal method of travel in the remote area. But when one cable snapped early yesterday morning, they were left suspended hundreds of feet above a ravine. Their lives hanging in the balance, depending on the strength of just one single remaining wire. Let's give you an idea of the geography of the area. The rescue took place in the north of Pakistan, in the Battagram district, where a cable car connects villages and brings pupils to school. It would take around 2 hours and 40 minutes to travel by car, a journey much longer than the 4 minutes by cable car. Military helicopters worked all day to bring the 8 people to safety. But as night fell, an even riskier operation began, with rescuers pulling themselves along a zip line. Our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, reports on the remarkable rescue.
They look exhausted and bewildered by all the attention, but they are now, all of them, safe and sound. The last brought down on a zip line rigged up as night fell to whisk the children to safety. Throughout the day, high above this remote, distant valley, their uncertain plight was being watched around the world. A daring rescue operation by helicopter, as the cable car dangled precariously. In it, 7 school children and 1 adult. This was the breakthrough moment. The boy appears to take a leap of faith before being lifted away. One incredible escape, then another, as a second child is winched away. Below him, a 900-foot drop in the ravine high in these North Pakistan mountains. The children's ordeal began at 7 a.m. when a cable snapped on their morning journey to school. It would only end 15 hours later with the rescue of all on board. A huge feat for the Pakistani military scrambled to this cut-off mountain valley. Cable cars, many made by the communities they're used in, are common here, saving hours of walking between villages and to school. The rescued children are being treated and monitored, say authorities, who have ordered an inspection of all the country's cable cars. And for those that need them, urgent repair to prevent a repeat of this extraordinary mid-air, high-wire drama. Dominic Waghorn, Sky News.
Now time for a check on the weather.
Warm memories.
Well, there'll be further showers this week with more general thundery rain possible in the southeast tomorrow. Temperatures will be around average today, higher for much of England and Wales, especially the southeast. Southern England will be dry and sunny this afternoon, while Wales, the Midlands, the southeast of Ireland will all see cloud and patchy light rain, clearing to sunny spells and the odd shower. Northern England will tend to cloud over with a little showery rain moving in. That's your weather.
With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzette. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world in adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Star Radio.
This is Star Radio UK.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie, and it is Star Radio UK on the morning show.
This is Star Radio. This is
UK.
Star Radio
UK.
This is Star Radio
UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Star Radio.
Love for you runs deep.
Star Radio.
All of you make my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the way.
Oh man, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We salute each and every one of you, and once again we say welcome to the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 23rd day of August, the year 2023. So soon the month will be over, and it's now 10:38 from the hearts of London. Of course, the Wednesday edition of the morning show.
You will never change.
I remain yours sincerely, the one and only
Archie.
To the end. You are God.
And let me first of all apologize sincerely for all our viewers and listeners on for yesterday's program not being able to come on. Yes, we were already firing on all cylinders, and then internet providers, I think they were undertaking the project around, but they didn't send us the information on time, so it just cut the broadcast. But my sincere apologies for all of you who were following, asking questions, what was going on. We were all doing very, very well. Nigeria had not happened to us. No, we were doing good. I don't know, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, and welcome to the program. Let me say morning to my team this morning. Mr. Olayomi, Koiki, good morning to you. Mr. Francis Guy, good morning to you. All presenters on Starr Radio UK, I salute you. Felix, all the way in Aberdeen, good morning. Kojo D, good morning. Kojo says that to listen to watch on Facebook, and then Kojo, you have to modernize. I'd like to say good morning to Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin. Samsudin, good morning to you. Anthony Adedeji Aziz Bedeseri, good morning to you. Pastor Mo, good morning. Bishop Adeshina, good morning. And to all the wonderful staff at the RBS office in Lagos, Nigeria, I salute you. And let me put it this way, all protocol observed. And as you know, it is a Wednesday edition of the morning show, and on Wednesdays we start from a default position of press with time, because the program finishes at 12 o'clock. So let's crack on. Now, if it is the first time of tuning in to listen to what's on the program, this is how the program is going to go. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit. Then the travel updates will continue from there. We'll look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. That is known as global trotting. Then at 11 o'clock, we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who will be joining in to bring you updates from Nigeria. Now, if you join us, or those of you joining us on the YouTube channel, you find out that it's posted lots of the stories that is making the rounds this morning on it, and we'll be looking at that. Then after which, at 11:30, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions. We'll look at some of the other stories making the rounds, and then at 12 o'clock we'll bring the curtains down for the end of the program. But if you have any questions or whatever thing that you want to say, saying pertaining to every discussion that is going on, feel free, post it on our Facebook page or YouTube channel or the platforms that we are broadcasting on before the lines are open at 12 o'clock. And I promise you one thing for sure, I'm gonna read that. So welcome on board. Do me a massive favor, a massive one. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our page. Let's say good morning to BB Clement on a wonderful program yesterday once again. Okay, let's crack on. So the quote for the day says, to succeed, you must be willing to persist and work hard to break the old pattern and start working towards where you want to go. So the old pattern holds us back, but you want to succeed, make sure you work hard to break it. That will open the new door for you to urge on. It is all coming away from Starr Radio, okay?
And that's what makes you great.
And when it comes to the weather front, this is what the weather has got in stock for us for this week. So far, since Monday, we've got a very, since, should I put it, since Saturday? Yeah, we've had a very nice weather, right? Wow, so it continues, but tomorrow everything is going to be changing there, though. So for today, it's going to be remaining dry throughout this afternoon with plenty of sunshine and very little in the way of cloud around. It's going to be remaining dry and clear for much of the night, though low cloud will gradually appear during the later hours of the night with a chance of some showers, some heavy and perhaps thundery at times. The total temperature is going to be 26 degrees and lower is going to be 15 degrees. UV level high, pollution low, and pollen level high as well. Sunset is going to be at 20:07 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 05:58 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you. We're going to be taking you to the house, to the roads for you to know what is happening on your travel this morning. Wherever you are, stay tuned, don't you go away.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. As to keep you navigated, I promise I'm on the Starr Radio UK travel update country where we weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:44. So what's your travels like this morning? Let me tell you what is happening here in the UK, London specifically, and other parts of the UK as well. Now, in London, the major roads in London, A40 and Central London Red routes, have got serious delays. So please, if you can avoid that, do your best to avoid it. And now on the underground this morning, good service throughout. Now, London traveling, good service. DLR has got path closures. That is until the 28th of August. No service between Canning Town and Stratford International. Please use the Jubilee Line service. And for the London Overground, well, there are path closures and lots of it, and we will warn you to check before you embark on your journey. And moving on straight to the river bars, I can tell you shortly, the Woolwich Ferry's got planned closure. That aside, all the others have got good service. The London cable car is in good service. Yes. You know why I'm saying that? Some people who like using it will think, well, what happened in Pakistan? Nah. Here, so health and safety, oh gosh, it's priority. Now, we don't say that accidents or incidents do happen, they do. But hey, you are rest assured of that. But keep your eyes on the roads, as you keep navigated, I promise I'm on to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. So on the National Rail this morning, cross country, Great Western Railway and Transport for Wales have all got mine on the lights. And that is why I will say it like I do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Just stay tuned there and let me tell you what you really got to do. Just keep those eyes on the roads.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
You are listening to Starr Radio Morning Show.
Okay, welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 10:47 the time. Let me bring you everything that you need to know on the Global Trotting this morning. We will witness a new country through Tinubu's Pastor Kumuyi, the General Overseer of Deeper Life Church. Pastor William Kumuyi has said Nigerians will experience good changes under President Tinubu. So, every day. Does that actually jeopardize the work of the tribunal at the moment, you know? Well, if I'm singing the praise of the person before even the verdict is made, then... But while conversations around the power of religion in Nigeria have remained a sensitive topic among citizens, an Easter advert in April 2022 by Sterling Bank comparing the resurrection of Jesus Christ to the popular bread in Nigeria called agege bread sparked an outcry amongst many Christians in the country. Well, as it said, religion is the opium of the masses, so you dare not touch it. You dare not touch that. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK, it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Something playing in the background from what is his name? Luigi McLean. Okay, so in other stories making the rounds, a Muslim group, Majisu Shabab Lee Olamahu Society in Ilorin, Kwara State, have recently made a news as their video surfaced on Facebook showing them storming the home of an indigenous religious priestess. Is there no freedom of religion or association in Nigeria? Is Nigeria a Christian or what do you call them? A Muslim country? Or Islamic country? Okay. Now, NSCDC parades Togolese others for allegedly stealing street lights cables in Ibadan. Oh my gosh. And then housing deficit data will be resolved soon. That's what the minister is saying. But even in this advanced country, we're suffering and we're having challenges there. And the religious differences, not ideology, will fuel this century's epic battles. This article is more than 9 years old. That was penned by who? Tony Blair. Another story says she is alleged to have benefited from at least $100,000 in cash, chauffeur-driven cars, flights on private jets, luxury holidays for her family, and the use of multiple landing properties. Let us bend therefore over backwards to avoid this civil war between brothers, Mr. El Rufai has advised. El Rufai, come again, my man. Alright then, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. OBLP, Storm Imo, give Uzudima quick notice. And UK charges ex-petroleum minister Dizeni Allison Madoke for corruption. Does that mean that whatever monies that she is alleged to have stolen will be now sent back to Nigeria? Or her properties that maybe would have been impounded will be what? Deferred or given to the state? And the defense minister is demanding time to end terrorism and banditry. That's quite an interesting story making the rounds in Nigeria. And I'll be telling you more about that once I have Mr. Olayomi Koiki with us. And in other stories making the rounds on the African continent, Zimbabwe, yes, today they have gone to the polls, but it looks like the opposition are in what do you call pole position. Let me put it that way, mildly. But you know that when it comes to elections on the African continent, we never get anything free and fair, especially when you have the what do you call them, the ruling government who have been in there for how many what years or decades? Since the 80s they've been there. But well, the polls is going to be a crucial one, and we will see. We're following very closely. Now, Niger group has called for withdrawal of French troops. And Central African Republic's top court confirms constitutional referendum result. To tell you more about all that, results and reforms that is going to get the president, the incumbent, to maybe run again a third term or a fourth term. Is that what we're talking about? They always skew it into their favor. Well, the African Union has suspended Niger due to military coup. Well, they should come again. They are like bulldogs without teeth. They can bite. But the African Union suspended Niger, the scene of a coup d'etat, since July 26th, and told its members to avoid any action that might legitimize it. Well. Well, you see, my problem is all these buddies that say, we gotta. When things are not going very well, when leadership of the various countries are not performing or underperforming, you never hear them meeting to say, look, up your game, or else something like this will happen and we will not stand by you. But you know what? They just quiet quiet, and when the worst happens, then they say, you know what, we play sanction on yourselves. Well, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, where were they when European countries and the Western world were attacking what they call him, Gaddafi? They all just stood aloof, folded their arms, and just went on. And now see what Africa is suffering. Because he promised that he was going to give loans that interest-free loans to African countries because he could afford, because his country was doing very, very well. Interesting. Let him come again. I remember he coming to reform the AU. And the Nigerian president has inaugurated the cabinet to tackle the issues that is going on in the country. Yomi will be telling you more about that. Well, the NPP presidential polls is going to be taking place this weekend. And the quote says, I pray either Alan Kennedy Cabinet Japan wins. This Cheriabosum, pastor, call him Cheriabosum. That means pastor who hates gods, or yes. One thing that I know